Heather Mcpherson. Uh, I don't need to do any introduction here. We already know me. I am going to put this out there and I'm going to make this very strong and very pointed. When it comes to the one time payment, I believe that that one time payment should be more than just one time. Many people here in Alberta who are on AISH are facing only two choices: pay their rent so that they have a roof over their head, or pay for food. Well, if you just pay for food, where are you going to put it? If you pay for rent, how do you get food? Those are the choices. Many of us people with disabilities have families, as you know, just like you and every other average person. Many of us have greater bills than others that have to be looked at, such as the fact that when AISH was de indexed, it put many of my friends in a very big, huge cry of desperation, for which revolved around medical. Did you know that AISH does not cover for CPAPs or the maintenance of a wheelchair? Yeah, that's right, I said it. The fact is that when Kenny changed things, he changed it for the worst for many who have compromised immune systems and or mobility issues for which needs certain implements in their lives so that they can actually live a half normal life. Without certain things like diabetic medications and or CPAP machines, certain things without them could die. The other part of it is that there are people who need life-saving medications. And I mean seriously, life-saving medications. And if you change a person's um, prescription to something that they might be allergic to, or it doesn't work, such as some diabetics are immune to certain medications concerning diabetes. Even animals face this issue. I had a cat that had feline diabetes, and no matter what I tried him on, it didn't work. So, in that case, humans follow the same suit. It's not much difference. You change somebody's medication, you can kill them. So, that also puts me to a whole new gambit. If you're a senior citizen um, who's about to turn 65, AISH gets cut off. Oh, lucky. Really? How lucky is it when you have to leave AISH to go on CPP, only to find that your CPP doesn't even cover your rent, your food, never mind the one medication that you need to live. If you had to live this life not knowing your future or what it would hold, let alone not even being able to afford rent or basic necessities when you hit retirement age, that's scary for a lot of people because for most, CPP, hate to say this, but I have friends right now that have less than $500 on CPP. And if you don't have another income over and above that, how do you pay your rent on $500? Especially when Kenny cut the rental subsidies for those that are in subsidized housing. As a matter of fact, many people that are on some kind of assistance cannot afford rent because it is so high in Alberta and in larger cities. When it comes to basic needs, some people also need certain programs and or resources in order to live. When Kenny decided to deny the Blind Center's funding a year and a half ago, many programs shut down. How many people needed those programs and or resources just to get by? Oh wait, Kenny doesn't care. Um, the nightmare that this government has put us through, I think our federal government should rethink how they think things and make them realize that being poor is not a luxury. It is hell. Anyone that has a disability did not ask to be born this way. They did not plan to be disabled. They did not plan to get older. They did not plan for any of this to happen to them. They are just born, and now they have to live in a society that is hell bent on only helping those of the normal or neurotypical, as most autistics would put people, without disabilities, and ask those with invisible disabilities to run the gambit of society for which certain resources and or programs are geared towards those of average abilities. As in people like you. If I get older and my husband gets sick, there's only one thing that I fear more over than anything else. Trying to find help for both me and my husband, and to try and navigate a system I don't understand. How is that fair? When it comes to people with disabilities, programs both federal and provincial should include everyone, whether they worked or not. Granted, some resources should be moreover for those that have never worked because they couldn't because of a disability. Privatizing anything concerning disability or seniors should never happen, because these places should have well-equipped, trained personnel for which know what they're doing. You hand off an HCA fresh out of the woodwork, you're just asking for trouble. You're asking for neglect. You're asking for abuse. You're asking for just, I can't even think or imagine what's going on concerning the privatization of everything. Privatizing our schools, privatizing our health, privatizing our disability. This is just wrong. And then to further more the discrepancies within the disability realm, though $600 is kind of a lifesaver because a person with a disability could easily grab themselves food for a couple of months or a month or two. But what about the rest of COVID? Maybe we should transfer that over, and given where the person sits in life, should also guarantee them federally certain monies within the federal to top up and make it so that the program that the federals put in place have mandated under the Human Rights and or Disability Act, Bill C-81, which, by the way, does not include people with invisible disabilities when it comes to accessibility. This law should also include that no program, no assured assistance programs for people living on subsidies and or other should have monies taken away if they should get this resource top up, because this top up should be lifelong. I would like that scene to be fought for and give it a sliding scale. So if the person works, you might receive less, or have the RDSP topped up in that person's name with the money, say half of it go to RDSP, the rest of it go to that person so that they can live. The other part of it is make it so that it's accessible for people with disabilities to navigate certain systems for which are made for average people. The laws that are made in place or put in place in the name of people with disabilities reads like a lawyer made them, and a lot of people who are like me can hardly get through the garble and understand it. Can you imagine trying to get help with a developmental delay and people are talking above you and not with you? I'm already there. I don't want to have to face 65 because I know for a fact that I don't qualify for AISH. I know for a fact that running the gambit of trying to find help for my husband, never mind myself, is going to be hell. I know for a fact that without proper resources, programs in place for people of all ages, all disabilities, is going to put many at a disadvantage. That $600 shouldn't just be a one time, it should be an all time. So I'm going to put this to you. Please do me a huge favor. Everyone wants universal health care. What about universal payment to top up what has been taken by the UCP and or others in regards of so-called supplying rich partners certain X amount of monies by taking away from people with disabilities across Canada. Granted, I understand this is COVID, but if we're to talk diversity, equality, and what have you, I don't see the inclusion here. I don't see equality. I don't see diversity. I don't see inclusion anywhere. No way, no how. And there isn't enough representation within the government. There should be a disability caucus at all levels of government, no matter the province, no matter the issue. And parties should hire people with disabilities to represent. I'm sorry, but I am very forthright about how I am, who I am, and what I'm about. I stand up for people with disabilities. And though you may try, unless if you walk the shoes of a person with a disability, you don't know how we live, or how we see things, or how we understand things, or how we have to navigate every day. When you have proper representation, I believe that's when Canada becomes a better country. Thanks.